A lot of times when we are faced or loved ones are faced with challenges such as autism or Alzheimer's disease, the beginning stages, or post-traumatic stress disorder, we kind of tend to think of, well, what's the doctor going to give us or give them? What kind of pill or what kind of prescription is there that we can get to kind of quell and alleviate these problems, when in actuality there are all kinds of other therapeutic methods that aren't necessarily pharmaceutical. Here to talk about some of those, and along with our good friends at Remo Drum, who have comfort sound technology, is from the Music Works Music Therapy, Celeste Keith. Good morning.
Good morning.
Now, this is really exciting to think about because we kind of do get bombarded with the instant, what can the doctor give me to fix this problem or alleviate, or, how are things going to cover this? When in fact, there are many different ways of at least treating some of these issues. And music therapy is one of them. Can you tell me a little bit about that?
Right. I think that we forget that life is filled with transitions, and that our body in of itself is an instrument. And depending on where we are in life, whether it's, at infancy or at the end, we need help coming in and going out and all along the way. And a music therapist is going to facilitate an individual's instrument. They're there to help them play that condition they're in. The song, just checked in to see what condition my condition is in. And the music therapist is going to utilize all sorts of different music strategies, everything from what we call receptive music methods, but in a lay terms, you might think of just simple music listening, active listening to music, to active music making, playing an instrument, engaging in creating music, writing music, social opportunities with playing instruments with others. And so there's a clinical aspect to what we do in determining what type of strategy might be involved, but these are the ways that we provide interface with a person, no matter what it is they're contending with. So that's a Reader's Digest version.
And I think it's fascinating. And this is from a therapeutic standpoint on so many levels, because they say, music hath the qualities to soothe the savage breast, as it were. But on so many levels too, because it's not necessarily a language, but it is a language. It's something that I probably doubt that there's anyone on this earth cannot relate to.
Exactly.
And in the ways that it can actually spark creativity, and listening to different forms of music, especially some complicated pieces that have two or more rhythms and or melodies coming through, can really, is that part of the idea that it can kind of help to not only spark creativity, but kind of access a portion of the brain that may not be stimulated?
Yeah, the brain neurologically, the research in music therapy and neurology is expanding daily in terms of how the brain is actually processing music. And we have circuitry, in essence, that's solely dedicated to the processing of music. And rhythm is a huge piece of it. You can have damage in the brain from any number of things, disease or trauma, you name it, and the brain still can process rhythm and tempo, and so serves as a huge, rerouting, the neuroplasticity of the brain. It allows for lots of rerouting and relearning of skill sets. So a music therapist is incorporating that into their work. There isn't any one right piece of music for each individual. It's kind of like your hand, your fingerprint, your own experience and what you bring to the table, what types of instrumentation, orchestration of a piece of music. These are all things that a music therapist has to look at with a patient in determining, what's going to be attractive, what's going to pull them in and help them proceed down the rehabilitation or self-care trail.
Now, when we're talking specifically, because I know Remo has their comfort sound technology now, how is that being used as part of the therapeutic process?
Well, in my practice, our age range is very broad. It's the youngest client we've worked with is 3 weeks of age, and the oldest is 104. And so we bring the drum into, and I have the 40-inch drum. we bring it into settings where there's real significant sensory coping problems. Children with autism or individuals that have some sort of neuro damage, and there's seizure disorders, and so loud sounds, startle responses are all part of the picture. And this drum, number one, the fact that it's bigger than life, and when you're 3 and 5 years old, somewhere in there, and you get to control something that's larger than yourself, is pretty big. But also because it's just not in your face all of a sudden when you strike it. Someone else can be playing it. You can touch it. You can feel the vibral, tactile aspect of the drum. You almost feel it before you hear it. And so there's lots of ways to experience the drum besides just actually tapping it, and that's important. You can get under the drum, so you can surround yourself with sound, so the whole body can take in it. We tend to think that we hear with our ears, but we really hear with our entire being, and so it allows for that sensory experience for an individual. You can stand. It's wheelchair accessible. For instance, there's various levels that can be positioned, so people in wheelchairs oftentimes have difficulty accessing music equipment, and this is one of the times where the person can not only get up to the drum, but they can actually experience the sensation that the drum offers. But the fact that it's not overwhelming, I kind of call it the Mother Earth drum, because I feel like all drums have been born out of this specific instrument. It can, it wants to be a gong, it wants to be a Tibetan singing bowl, and it can be a big booming type of drum without the startle of a bang.
That's outstanding. And for anybody who thinks this is some sort of new age technology, you have 30 years experience as a music therapist. So this is something that's been a tried and true therapeutic avenue, which is awesome. Celeste Keith, The Music Works Music Therapy. They're on Facebook. Just do a search for The Music Works Music Therapy, and you can find out more. Thanks so much for calling. It's been really, really insightful and rather fascinating. And best of luck and continued success to you.
Thanks much.